3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, this is Connor Van Slice, your co-host of the Cloud Saga Cinema Podcast. I am joined today by
Brian Dangler.
and we also have a very special guest today, returning to the podcast, the one and only Jarrod Flaherty. How are you, Jarrod?
Delightful. How is everybody?
Doing great.
That's awesome. I'm
Doing
so happy to hear.
amazing.
I want to comment on Jarrod's setup here. I'm really digging it.
Thanks.
I really like the whole aesthetic you got. You got all kinds of genres there.
And I got some autographs in there too.
I mean, you didn't have to point that out, but
Those autographs. For anybody watching this, Tim Allen and Daniel Craig, and they are certified, so they are real.
There
unless
you go.
we see proof, they're not.
We need to see the paperwork.
We could Jarrod, if we wanted to, we could call you out and say you just signed them on the dot.
Dude, I could literally pull out the piece of paper on the back of the picture.
Okay, moving on. Today, we got a pretty packed episode. We're gonna talk Cherry, Promising Young Woman, Willy's Wonderland, and Oscar nominations that just came out this morning. Do we want to jump right into it, or do we want to talk about what we've been watching, or what?
We can start with the
Sure.
movies.
All right.
Short on what?
Sure on what?
You said we could talk about the movies we're watching lately, so I said
I'll
sure.
start it off
Okay.
with Cherry. So this is the first movie from the Russo brothers post Endgame and Infinity War. It follows Tom Holland as the main character Cherry as he goes to war. He's a war vet, then comes back PTSD. He becomes a drug addict. He robs banks. He falls in love. The 2 hour and 30-minute epic from the Russos. I was the only one that saw this, but have you guys heard about anything for this movie?
Yeah, I've heard some stuff.
I've heard about two particular scenes, yes.
Yeah, well, I'll get into those scenes because at this point, even if you haven't seen the movie, you've probably heard about these scenes. I'll get it right off my chest. I don't think this is a bad movie. Not as bad as people are saying. I feel like this got review bombed. Creatively, narratively, it has some of the most fascinatingly odd choices I've seen in a movie in a minute. I mean, okay, the two shots that Jarrod's talking about, and I can guarantee there is a shot from the perspective, of Tom Holland's butthole inside of it, which comes out of nowhere because in the scene, he's getting ready to get shipped off to war, right? And you can easily take it out. You can take the shot out and it's fine, but it's just there. It just happens. And then there's a long scene of Tom Holland jacking off in the shower. I haven't been that uncomfy in a minute. But I feel like I said before, this is definitely something that isn't as bad as people are saying. Tom Holland is slightly miscast. Sierra Bravo is very miscast in this. Her chemistry with Tom Holland is very odd. I mean, it's bold from the Russos, but it's also not as clever as it thinks it is. It thinks it's a very clever movie, to say the least.
So can I ask what's the purpose of the masturbation scene?
He misses Sierra Bravo. And
yeah, but did they really
they broke up. Spoilers for the movie. They broke up and he's pissed off, so he does what any man would do. He gets going in the shower.
Wow. There's no easy way to get into that.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a span of like 40 minutes where the movie made me feel really uncomfortable. And I don't know if that was what the film was going for, but it did a hell of a job doing it, truly.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing that it made you uncomfortable? Because there can be both sides of that.
I feel like the movie can be so much shorter than it is. It is not justified for 2 hours and 30 minutes long. It feels way too overlong and overstuffed. There's way too much shit happening in this movie. And they'll transition from one thing to another so quickly. So he goes from war to being a druggie in like 20 minutes of screen time. And also, you listen to the Russo brothers talk outside of this movie, like for the press junkies and whatnot. They have some very interesting things to say in comparison to their film. So they're like, oh, this is, a reflection of the opioid epidemic. But in the movie, it's telling you, oh, drugs, you know what? They're pretty good because Tom Holland just said they were. And they're like, oh, drugs are really easy to get and drugs are easy to do. Let me show you step by step on how to inject cocaine in myself and how to do cocaine and how to smoke weed. And so what the Russos were going for and what is portrayed on screen are two vastly different things. And it really, like, the messages it tries to go off and the themes that it tries to go off are so muddled because there's so much. There's like, it's a lot of movie. It's really, it's crazy. It's insane to say the least.
You said it like tries to be a Scorsese movie, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like very stylistic in that way.
And there's a voiceover. Which
Okay.
apparently, reading up on the actual, it's based off a book.
Yeah.
So the book apparently is told through this like eternal monologue, which kind of almost makes sense that it has this voiceover, but the voiceover is not good. Like half the time, Tom Holland doesn't sound like it sounds like this is his first take and he's reading the script for the first time. Which is very odd.
So just nothing behind his voice, just monotone.
Very monotone and then just like
the way. Do you think that could be the case? Like, you think that's in the same like line as him being miscast? You think?
See, I wrote this in my actual review where I feel like at times he acts very well. He never hits stride 100%.
Okay.
But then there are other times where, I mean, he's like robbing a bank and he does there's certain choices that he does that don't really justify him being in the movie. I feel like you can plop anyone into that role and they might be able to do the same thing, if not better. But then there are times where at the war, like when he's at war, there's no reason Tom Holland should be casted as this character. Like Tom Holland is just there in the war scenes. They play with the aspect ratio a lot, which is funky. Like it is very stylized to the point where it's distracting at times. And it never takes away from the performance of Tom Holland when he's good. But then there are times where, like I said before, he just feels out of place. And he feels like he's acting for a different movie altogether.
So that sounds like poor directing. That doesn't. I don't think that necessarily falls on Tom. That sounds like that falls on the Russo brothers.
Yeah, I mean, Tom. Listen, Tom. You listen to Tom talk about the role, and you can definitely tell that he put a lot behind it. You listen to him; he's very passionate about it. He's very passionate about the role, and he's very passionate about what the film goes for. And I completely agree. I feel like the direction, it wants to be this clever, like genre bending film, but at the center of it, it's just it gets stuck under its own like over stylization.
Sure.
Yeah, it never knows what it wants to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what stops it from even being a good movie. I don't think this is like anything to write home about. And I respect an attempt at a vision from the Russos, because the vision is clearly there for them. What that vision is, that's the biggest question for me, because I don't know what a Russo brothers movie is yet. Like, I don't know what kind of movies they make. If that makes sense.
If they go forward with this same style, do you think they're going to improve and actually make like good films? If they tackle like maybe other adaptations.
I mean, take nothing away from what they've done with Marvel. I feel some of their Marvel stuff is some of the best that you can get out of Marvel.
Probably is the best. If
yeah,
you probably make that argument.
Their last two
following up
Marvel.
the biggest film of all time is always going to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like, that's going to be an incredible feat, and you're not going to be able to please everyone.
Yeah.
But I almost compare. I don't want to compare them, because I compare them to someone like James Cameron or Steven Spielberg. But if you think about it, Steven Spielberg at one point had the highest grossing film of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And then he used that clout to make hit after hit after hit after hit, and to use that money towards other films.
Yeah, he would use that to make lower, lesser known movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you look at James Cameron, he makes Titanic, at the time, highest grossing film of all time. He uses that money to go into the sea and he uses that to buy submarines and shit like that. But then he goes and makes Avatar. So,
which is also the biggest, which is now once again the biggest movie of all time.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So I don't want to say that they'll be the next like James Cameron or Steven Spielberg. I don't think that at all. I think if I've learned anything from this film and what the Russos talk about when in context of this film, they're very pretentious people. They are very, very pretentious, because you read their essays on this film and they're trying to connect it to like the French New Wave and Truffaut and all these like odd filmmakers. And I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Truffaut's work, and I've barely scratched the surface on French New Wave, but I know well enough that if you want to compare Cherry to groundbreaking films of the French New Wave, you're insane. You're insane. I have all the respect in the world to go out and make this ambitious film after making Avengers Endgame, but you need to make a few hits first and not stumble on your first outing. But it's
talking about the first outing outside of Marvel. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I get you. I was like, because all those movies they made were hits within Marvel.
No, and I don't doubt that. And I feel like the biggest issue for me, and I feel like this will be the last thing I say about it, is even with Marvel's kind of known to not give directors a lot of creative freedom to a certain point. I think the Russos over time were able to get a lot of creative freedom because they kept making those hits. But Cherry feels so vastly different in so many different things at once that, like I said before, the Russos have made at least 10 films now. And I don't know if they have a voice in Hollywood. And I think that might stop them from making, like Brian, you asked if they'll make better films. I don't know. I don't know, because go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say they're always gonna have a job.
Oh, for sure. Listen, they're making
always gonna make
these. They're making all these movies. They're set for life now.
Did they make Extraction, or did they just help write that?
They produced it. They produced it. Yeah.
So they're always going to be on the fringe of Hollywood, and they're always going to be there. Whether they're going to have any impact on the grand scheme of things, if they're ever going to be award-winning directors, I honestly, right now, I'd say no. I don't think they have that clear-cut voice yet to make.
They need to go back to making comedies, because they did a lot of stuff for.
Listen, Community is one of my favorite shows of all time. So I completely agree with that.
Yeah, they did really good in that. Their writing was spot on for that show, and their directing.
But yeah, I gave Cherry 2.5 out of 5.
Okay.
It's funny though, because you talk about poor directing, and I just watched recently The Devil All the Time with Holland.
Totally different, polar opposite.
his performance in that is amazing. So it's like you go from that, which I think is incredibly well directed as a film. And then you go from this, which sounds like Tom gives it everything he can get, or everything he can give with what he's given.
There are scenes in the movie that legitimately feel like you're watching an Oscar-worthy performance, but then 3 seconds later, it's canceled out by something really stupid.
So that sounds like a directing and a writing.
There are times, and it's even the writing sometimes, where I think the word druggy is used at least 90 times in a 20-minute period, and it's so distracting because it's like, can't you come up with we know he's a druggie. We know this guy does drugs. We've seen it. He's told us through the voiceover. You don't need 50 other characters telling him, "Oh, hey, druggie, what's up, druggie?"
Is it better or worse than the use that Quentin Tarantino has with the N-word?
I don't think you can compare the two. I think one is kind of justified because the way that Tarantino uses the N-word is very historically correct.
Yeah,
sure. No, I was just making it. That's the only thing I could think of was Tarantino and Django, and how many times I heard the N-word in that movie.
Or when this isn't really the same thing, but like Scorsese with the F-bomb and like Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh God! Oh, that's the exact same thing. No, that's the exact same thing. Yeah. Exact same thing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And the funniest thing, the Russo brothers say, "Oh yeah, this is an original film," and blah blah blah. It has its inspirations written across its chest every second of the runtime. Like you can pick one thing out, like the voiceover, the names of certain characters. You have like Joey and Freddie and all this. Like, yeah, Joey went down the street to get this and blah blah blah. So I'm like,
sounds like Goodfellas.
Yeah. So essentially, there are scenes where I feel like I'm watching a student film version of Goodfellas.
Damn, kind of dropping some bombs on the Russo brothers.
I had a lot of respect, and I still kind of have a mild respect for the Russos, but I feel like they're overblowing this film just a little bit too much. But I think Tom Holland fans are gonna love it for multiple different reasons.
He's a great actor.
He is a great actor. I think he's finally, not finally, I think he proved it in Devil All the Time that he's got range. So I know a lot of people were comparing him to Timothée Chalamet because they kind of broke out around the same time. And people are automatically, pushing Timothée Chalamet. Obviously, he's an amazing actor, but I think now finally Tom Holland's starting to prove himself because he's doing stuff outside of Marvel. And now that he's doing stuff outside of Marvel, he can actually prove himself.
He can act,
yeah.
To me,
he was doing stuff before Marvel. From what I heard, he was good in those.
In the Heart of the Sea, he's okay in that movie.
And then he did like some disaster movie.
The Impossible.
The Impossible, yeah. Mm-hmm. And he did Pilgrimage.
Yes,
which was like a smaller was a smaller movie where he was around the time The Impossible came out. He did that. I haven't seen that, but that's just the one I know.
And that's what's so confusing to me. I mean, this is a quick point we can touch on. Tom has proven that he has a lot of range, even in this.
Absolutely.
He has to be 15 different characters throughout one movie.
Sure.
And it's kind of impressive. But the movies he chooses, like the vast range and diversity of the films that he chooses to be in, isn't so much concerning, but it's just like the potential is there, but the films he chooses are very odd.
Do you think like,
you look at Chaos Walking and Cherry, and I'm worried. For a second there, I was really worried that he was going to be like stuck at this Marvel like level, and I feel like to a certain degree he will.
Like typecast and all these in that same role,
like the same exact character.
Do you think maybe it's a case of great actor, bad agent?
Maybe.
Because Dylan O'Brien falls into that category. Because I think Dylan O'Brien's one of the most talented young actors out there, but he picks these roles that are like, why did you pick that?
I think maybe, but when you hear Tom speak about the movies that he's involved in and other films that he's watched, he is clearly so passionate about what he does.
Okay.
So it is it's a question of, is it agent or is it his personal choice, or does he just kind of want to do his own thing? So
fair enough.
I'll be interested to see what he does next. That's all. All right. Brian, do we want to move on to Promising Young Woman?
Sure.
All right.
Let's do it.
The directorial debut of Emerald Fennell, and now a Best Picture nominee, Promising Young Woman. Brian, do you want to read the synopsis, or do you want me to pull it up?
I can pull it up real quick.
I'm actually really excited to watch this movie. I like I said, we're filming this on a Monday. I'm going to watch it tomorrow, Tuesday. I'm really excited to watch this movie.
All right. So here we go. A young woman traumatized by a tragic event in her past seeks out vengeance against those who crossed her path. That's all it gives you.
I think
that's
that's
good.
a pretty fair synopsis.
Yeah. Do you want to hear my thoughts, Connor?
Yeah, let's hear your general thoughts, because Brian and I are the only two that have watched it. Like Jared said, he's watching it tomorrow. Yeah. I don't know Brian's opinion on it, so this is going to be all brand new to me. So I'm interested to hear.
I'll start it off by saying it's Carey Mulligan's best performance ever. It's her best performance ever.
I agree.
Right now, we'll get into the Oscars later, but it's going to be between her and someone else for Best Actress in Leading Role in my eyes. I think it's either her and someone else, or like basically the runaways with it. For a directorial debut, I was surprised on how well directed it was and how well written it was, because she wrote and directed it, right?
I believe Emerald? So. Let me double check.
I think so. When I saw that today,
she co-wrote it, or I don't think anyone else wrote it.
Yeah.
So yeah, she wrote, directed, and produced it.
Everyone was pretty good in it. Everyone outside of her was pretty good in it, especially Bo Burnham. I thought Bo Burnham is proving that he's not just a comedic actor.
Completely agree.
He's got range. It's not like he's not like Al Pacino yet. Like he still has time. He still has to prove himself a bit. But I don't think it was bad at all in it. There's a surprise cameo that shows up in it that I didn't know about, that I don't want to say because I want Jared to be surprised by.
I feel like there's a lot of surprise cameos in this movie. There are a lot. There
was one that stuck out to me though. I think you know which one it is.
I think so. Yeah.
There's one that sticks out to me a lot. I had no idea he was in it. He wasn't in any trailers. It's well written. It's well directed. Carey Mulligan's amazing in it. The color palette they choose.
This is such a awesome looking.
It kind of looks like it almost looks like Palm Springs to me.
I completely agree. It's a very it's a very eye candy.
Oh, that one's so good. But it has it's a very light color palette. It looks like it's something that would go on Hulu. But it doesn't look cheap necessarily. You can definitely tell it's a little lower budget though. What studio did it? It was a small one.
I believe Lucky Chap and Film Nation.
Okay.
I've never heard of either of them, so.
No, I haven't either. Those trailers were sick for that movie. They were awesome.
Okay, that's something I want to talk about.
Yeah.
They were so
Ryan, before I get into that, is there anything else you want to say generally about it?
The cover they do for Toxic is pretty sweet.
That's pretty good, yeah. So Lucky Chap Entertainment has this is Margot Robbie's production company, because she's an executive producer.
Oh.
So they've done films like I, Tonya, Birds of Prey.
Everybody has a production company now.
Yeah. So the trailers, I think this is probably my biggest issue with the film. Because going in, I thought from the trailers... Wait, can you hear that?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
I'll cut this out.
We're still recording. This is cool. Now we got to fill dead air. In the meantime, dead air. You think Connor would...
I was gonna say, I think you're gonna like it a lot.
You think Connor would be mad if we promoted our podcast right now? Probably.
Okay. All right. So Okay. The trailers do not show what the film actually is.
It's a drive situation.
Oh,
Yes.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
that gets me so hyped.
Kinda, sorta.
So
That's awesome.
the trailers really give this like slasher kind of.
Yeah, very
Like, vibe
stylized.
to it.
Almost like
Yeah.
it almost looks horror.
That's what I was thinking. I
Yeah.
thought from the title and from the trailers, I thought it was going to be this like horror slasher film, but in reality, it's like this drama, like rom-com movie kind
With
of.
almost like a Nightcrawler arc to it.
It's very new. I want to say neo noir in a
Mhm.
way. To
In a way.
certain degree.
It's
Neo-noir-esque.
literally exactly like Drive.
I would, yeah.
Kinda.
It's definitely in the same vein of Nightcrawler and Drive.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm gonna
For sure.
love it.
So going in, I remember I've seen this twice. This was one of my most anticipated for the whole year because I remember when it first dropped, when it first came out, the hype was already there based off of what people had heard about Mulligan's performance. So I was so excited going in, but the trailers kind of put me off from the get-go. The opening shot is set to the most. This movie has some crazy ass needle drops. Like this movie has some of the strangest fucking needle drops ever.
The
Like,
title card looks like a YouTube intro.
yes, I was very
Really?
worried. I won't lie. I was
Dude,
very worried from the opening shot.
Yes,
that I
from
was
the
gonna hate
opening,
this movie.
from the opening shot and opening like credits, it's a completely like throws a pitch completely out of left field.
You gotta be open. You gotta be open-minded after that because it is gonna catch you way off guard. I will say, like Brian touched on, the visuals are fantastic.
Yes.
I'm surprised this wasn't in contention for best cinematography. There are some phenomenal like wide angle shots where Fennell gives characters headspace. Like she frames it where there's something in the background. There's a specific shot, and Brian, it's the one where she has this like square thing behind her, and Cassie, the main Carey Mulligan, and she has like this blue thing behind her, and it almost gives the character's thought process behind like an extra layer. I feel like there are a lot of purposeful shots and a lot of strong imagery shots in it. Carey Mulligan is going to win an Oscar this year. I don't think there's any real conversation at this point. Brian, I know you have one other person you think might win, but we'll get into that later.
Probably.
She puts on a show. She clearly is having the time of her life in this role. It looks like she's having a blast the whole time. So, she's great. Bo Burnham, surprisingly great.
Yeah.
I really liked him. I won't get into the cameos, but there's some really nice cameos.
There are.
Some of which I knew about and others, and I know the one that you're talking about, Brian, that I was like, how the hell did you manage to get this person for like 10 minutes? It's phenomenal. It's so good. Like I said before, best music cues of the year for me has some very strange, like there are times where I question it, but then you kind of have to roll with it. It has the
and then you realize it works.
Yes, it has the best. Okay, so you know that song in Deadpool, Jared, Angel in the Morning?
Yeah.
This one has a better usage of that song than Deadpool.
That's awesome. I'm pretty excited about it.
It has a better iteration of it.
All you guys had to say was it's as soon as you guys said it's like Drive, I'm in. That's easy sell. That's all I had to say.
Brian, do you have any negatives or mixed things? Because I have a few. I have a few. Like there's a few things I don't think it's a nitpick, but it's just the way it presents things.
The ending goes on too long.
I kind of agree, and I think the themes that it tries to go for almost come off a little. It almost. I don't know how I'm gonna word this. It almost feels like the themes that it's going for, it doesn't understand how to present it correctly. If that makes sense.
I think Emerald was very ambitious with this, but at times I think she was a little too ambitious.
Totally agree.
I think she had a lot of ideas that I think she can spread out with like the next couple of movies she's gonna make because she has a bright future. I think if this is her debut,
Oh, for sure.
then she's got a ton of movies she can make. I think she tried to put too many ideas that she had for like other films into this one, and some work, some don't. At times, it can feel like a little too much.
It definitely has a pacing issue.
It does have a
where
pacing issue. Sometimes
will go
it'll
off on
fly,
these.
and other times it won't come to a screeching halt, but it'll definitely slow down.
Yeah, it'll go
It
on
literally
off these.
sounds like Drive.
Mm-hmm.
It's very comparable. It's very comparable. That and Nightcrawler, like that, because I remember earlier in the year, Carey Mulligan didn't have the amount of momentum that she did, so people were saying that she was going to be like a Jake Gyllenhaal level snub, like Nightcrawler.
She would have.
She
If
would
she
have.
didn't get nominated, she
It would have
would've.
been an exact like carbon copy.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely, especially in the middle, it goes off on these tangents where I don't know if it necessarily is needed, where some cameos feel just like, hey, this is this person, and hey, that's this person. Let's give them a little screen time with Carey Mulligan. So
I think it's more style over substance.
No, it never reaches that point.
No, I hold on. Let me rephrase that question. In the sense of the cameos, is it more just or not style? Shock value, like, oh, look who it is. It's this person.
I
This
definitely think
famous
it runs
actor.
into the issue with certain people. There's a specific cameo that I was like, well, okay, all right.
With most, it works though.
Yes, for the most part, yeah.
The one I'm thinking of, it definitely works.
I definitely think this is a film that's going to improve on rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
Because
see, that gets me excited.
You don't really know where the story's going because the film catches you off guard with what it actually is. Because it's not a slasher, it's not a horror movie. It catches you off guard with its visual storytelling, its performances, and the music cues. I mean, the music cues kind of throw it all off because it's such a different like group of songs.
Yeah.
And there's covers, but then there's actual versions of the songs. So I want to say it's going to be a cult classic because it definitely feels like it has that path to that.
It could definitely reach Nightcrawler and Drive like levels of cult like value.
I just hope Emerald Fennell doesn't end up like Dan Gilroy, who directed Nightcrawler and who hasn't done anything since.
Are you saying that Roman J. Esquire or whatever it's called isn't the greatest movie of all time?
I haven't seen it.
Roman J. Israel Esquire. That's the name of the film. That was that guy's next movie.
Didn't he also do the Velvet Buzzsaw? Yeah.
The movie was terrible. The movie was horrendous.
So weird and could have been so much more.
I haven't.
That's why I'm worried because I feel like. I mean,
I watched it in school.
Who directed Drive?
Nicholas Winding Refn. Yeah.
He hasn't run into that issue because he keeps making those stylish, visually appealing films. So I feel like
only God forgives.
I watched another podcast, another conversation. But I definitely feel like Emerald Fennell had, if the amount of love that this has gotten this award season, her future is going to be so bright because she just got the nomination for Best Director. So I feel like that's already one of the many stepping stones she's placed over the course of the award season. So,
did she get nominated for Best Director at the Globes?
I think she did.
No. I think Regina got it, if I'm not mistaken.
So is that always well, we can talk about that later. I'll ask that question later.
Brian, do you have a grade for it? because I think I'm gonna catch you off guard with the grade that I have for it.
8.5 out of 10.
0.5.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it 4.5 out of 5.
That doesn't surprise me.
It
That doesn't
was,
really
I think, my
surprise me.
third favorite movie of last year.
Well, that's your kind of movie, though. See, the stylized.
That's
it's definitely right up your alley.
If you open up a movie with the song it opens up the movie with, you already have like an extra. You're already at a 5-star. So it's
talk about ambition.
Really.
I can't wait. I can't wait till tomorrow. I haven't decided whether I'm going to buy it outright or if I'm just going to rent it.
You should.
Buy
it. Buy it outright. Yeah. You'll want to buy it afterwards.
And this is the smallest nitpick ever. But the cover for the movie is really stupid because it has some of the best posters. And they picked this still from the movie where she's just chilling at
Wait, for the Blu-ray cover?
Yeah.
Wait, no, I gotta see.
No, a lot of movies do that.
It's really surprising.
The Conjuring 2 has some of the best creepy posters out there. And then The Conjuring 2's Blu-ray is the weirdest, wackiest, cheap. It's so cheap.
It's super weird. Like
I have an idea of what it is. I think I know.
But yeah, I think, Jared, I think
you'll... Really?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
I like the poster a lot more. If they do a steelbook, they should use the poster.
Yes, they should. Definitely
should.
Jared, I think it's right up your alley, though. I think you're really good.
Well, that's good. For the people listening, Drive is one of my absolute favorite things I've ever consumed in media ever. So to hear that it's like that, that's cool. I'm excited.
All right. Well, that was Promising Young Woman, and we're gonna get into the last movie that we're talking about today. Jared, do you want to tell us about Willy's Wonderland?
The best movie of 2021.
It's gonna sweep the Oscars next year,
dude. I hope it does. Everything, every award category gets nominated for. So look, here's what I'm gonna say. Okay, I'm gonna be a little bit biased, only because I saw it in a theater. Now, this is a low budget film. Obviously, with the current situation of the world, not everybody can get to a theater. However, if you get a chance to go see it in a theater, it will 100% enhance your experience of this film. Because the crowd's reaction to this thing is beautiful. It was relatively packed for the times in which we're in.
Mm-hmm.
And you know exactly what you're getting when it starts. It very much is self-aware of itself. It does not take itself seriously. It's a video game movie. Thick and through. 100% a video game. No doubt in my mind. With that being said, it's amazing. I love movies like this, where it's over the top, it's ridiculous, it knows exactly what it is, like I said before. And it's just there just to give you a fast and tight hour-and-a-half ride. It never feels overly long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Nick Cage is awesome, doesn't speak an ounce of dialogue in the whole thing.
I feel like Nick Cage is slowly making this like own genre of his.
You know what's funny? Other people have said that too.
I feel like he has his own genre at this point. I feel like you can classify a Nick Cage movie because he makes it his own.
He does. And dude, this is totally his.
How is he in this?
So he's great. I mean, like I said, he doesn't have any dialogue besides grunting and making faces and crunching cans in his hand and throwing them into a garbage can.
In the trailer, I heard him scream a couple times as he screams.
Yeah, he screams when he's destroying these animatronics. Also, with the animatronics, incredibly well done. I believe this movie only had a $5 million budget. Holy crap. I'm assuming most of that either went to Nick Cage or the animatronics.
Probably
because,
Nick
oh
Cage.
my God, the animatronics are phenomenally well done. They're so awesome. They're so good. The kills in it are ridiculous and so fun. So I said earlier, it's like a video game. So, without really saying too much, I don't know how I could spoil a movie like this, but without saying too much, when he's done doing what he's got to do, he goes back to a room, refuels himself with this certain kind of like energy drink, soda pop thing. I don't know what it is. And then he comes back out to then kick some more ass. And then he's like, all right, I'm going back in now. And then he goes back in, takes another break, drinks some more soda, crunches it, throws it in the garbage can, and then goes back out and does it. And that kind of does it over and over again.
I have a question.
Sure.
So are those justified, or is it like a ploy to have marketing? Are they like off?
Oh, no, dude, they're the brand. It's not, There's no brand. It's not like
I'm just wondering because sometimes movies will do that.
Dude, I would come on here and be like, this is the greatest Monster Energy promotion I've ever seen in my life if I felt it was like that. Like, remember Power Rangers a couple of years ago where it was Krispy Kreme donuts? It was all over that freaking thing. No, it's not that situation.
Okay.
It's like Sonic with Olive Garden.
Yeah. Willy's Wonderland's great. I saw it with my girlfriend. She just adored it. She was like, this is just so fun. Also, it's not just like ridiculous in a sense of like it's like a bad movie, because it's not a bad movie at all. The way that this thing builds tension was so surprising. It's a tension-driven film. Like there is legitimate tension and legitimate suspense in what's going to happen next. Obviously, you have genre tropes within this film, which is unfortunate. That might be my biggest negative, is that there are teenagers in it. You don't give a shit, but it doesn't try to make you give a crap. It doesn't try because the film knows that these kids are most likely going to die anyway. So why even bother? So it's very self-aware.
Based off that, when I did Sundance this year.
Sure.
And Brian knows this. I watched the Nick Cage movie at Sundance called Prisoners of Ghostland. And I think after watching this, I don't know when this is coming out, but let me read you my review real quick, because this is basically the lowdown of this movie. So Nicolas Cage has a bunch of screaming fits, wears a thong, gets his balls blown off. There are zombies and toilet paper people. A fight scene set to "Time in a Bottle" by Jim Croce. Oh, and a nuke. That's what happens.
Not as ridiculous.
I don't know what it's about. I don't really care, but it's fun as all hell. It is quite possibly the most ridiculous movie I've ever seen in my life.
This is the Nick Cage genre.
Like I'm saying, hey, that's what I'm saying. He's building his own cinematic universe.
He really is. And Willy's Wonderland is wonderful. And also, I hear a lot of that it's a ripoff of Five Nights at Freddy's. It's not even close.
I feel like that's the marketing.
Sure. But I mean, the similarities are there, but it's not a full-blown ripoff. No way. Not even close.
Well, I feel like that fandom is so specific. If you throw animatronics in anything, they're bound to be like, oh, hey, you're ripping off Five Nights at Freddy's. So
no, it's not even close. Willy's Wonderland
is definitely probably inspired by it, but
I saw people saying it was a straight ripoff.
Would you recommend it?
Okay.
If you're a fan of slashers, because it's a straight slasher, yeah, absolutely. If you just want a breezy hour-and-a-half film that is super fun and has some really, really good tension building. It's not scary. It's got really good tension though. Yeah, I think it's great. I love it.
We get a grade on it? Do you have a rating?
So unfortunately, what people maybe don't know about me is I don't give movie grades. I just tell you whether to see it or not. So if you're a fan of slashers, you should absolutely see it. If you're not a fan of slashers,
we get 2 thumbs up for it.
Sure.
2 thumbs up.
If you're a fan of slashers, absolutely. If slashers don't do anything for you, this movie isn't going to turn you on to slashers at all. Right. But it's great. The kills are awesome. The gore's there. Everything you could think this movie would be is that and then some. It's awesome.
Interesting.
Loved
All right.
it.
We talked about 3 vastly different films today.
We did.
We went from Cherry.
They're all completely
It's a promising
different.
young woman to Willy's Wonderland. Interesting. All right. Well, I want to break. And we're back. Welcome back. So, like I said before break, we're going to get into the Oscar nominations that happened this morning. Both Brian and I woke up at the break of dawn to react to them. And I'm going to... Jarrod, listen.
I knew they were happening today.
To be fair, I didn't know Brian was waking up early to them.
Oh, my body just naturally woke me up early.
Me too.
I was like, all right, I guess we're watching.
That's kind of where I was at with Brian Guy. Yeah.
I'm gonna take this time to plug in one of my reactions.
And here Jang-un in Minari. Congratulations to all those nominees.
Who they sub?
Chosen these nominees. Thomas Vinterberg, Another Round.
Whoa! 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 Whoa!
Meg. Lee Isaac Chung, Minari. Chloe Zhao, Nomadland. And Emerald Fennell, Promising Young Woman.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Finally, the nominees for Best Picture.
Whoa!
All members of the Academy are. Okay. Ready? The Father, David Parfit, Jean-Louis Levy, and Philippe Carcassonne.
All right. So we're gonna start with international feature. The nominees are Another Round, Better Days, Collective, The Man Who Sold His Skin, and KO by This Ida. I don't know about you, but I've only seen one of these.
And I plan on only seeing one of these.
Seen 0.
My pick and prediction is going to be Another Round because that is the only one.
Sure.
Mine as well.
Me too. Yippity doo.
There was one movie I noticed they left out that I heard was getting some buzz, and that was Night of the Kings or something like that.
I'm pissed that I didn't get in there. That was so good. I saw that at New York Film Festival a few months back. So that and Dear Comrades. I'm surprised they didn't throw Dear Comrades in there.
Yeah. Was that eligible for this one?
Yes, it was on the short list.
What country was it coming out of?
Yugoslavia, I think, or Russia, or
Yugoslavia.
It was either that or Russia. Yeah, it was one or the other. But
I don't think Yugoslavia isn't even around anymore, so I think it was good. Documentary feature, Collective, which gets a double nomination. Crip Camp, The Mole Agent, and My Octopus Teacher, and Time. So I have seen 2 of the 5 here. Brian?
Zello.
I haven't seen any.
So, in my honest opinion, my pick and my prediction is Time. Directed by Garrett Bradley. Legitimately a fantastic documentary. And I'm not huge on documentaries, but last year I saw more documentaries than any other year. I'm surprised that they didn't throw Boy State in there or Dick Johnson Is Dead. But
I've heard a lot of good things about Boy State.
Boy State, I was telling Brian in a previous podcast, is one of the most cinematic documentaries I've ever seen. It's filmed like a movie. That's the one that's on Apple TV, right? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yep. I saw it through a festival, but really good. Dick Johnson Is Dead. I'm not surprised they didn't include that in there. But Time is on Amazon Prime. Definitely check it out. It's so good. It's one of the best endings to a film of last year. I'm going to pick My Octopus Teacher just because it sounds awesome.
I was going to say, I'm picking that one as well, only because I know it's on Disney+. It's a Disney documentary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Disney or National Geographic, but either way, Disney owns.
Really? Oh, now I'm intrigued. That's cool.
Interesting. Okay. Song. Husavik from Eurovision Song Contest. Fight for You from Judas and the Black Messiah. Low C from The Life Ahead. Speak Now from One Night in Miami. Hear My Voice, The Trial of Chicago 7. So my pick would be Husavik from Eurovision Song Contest because that song slaps, and if they play that in the ceremony, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Is that the song that plays at the end of the film?
Yes.
Yeah, I do know what that is. Yeah.
It's a pretty good song, but I think my pick, or I think the prediction that I have is Fight for You or Hear My Voice.
I'm gonna go with Fight for You, considering it's the only film on that list that I've seen so far.
I know nothing, so I got nothing.
Pick one.
Yusufik.
Or
Husavik?
Just because that song makes me chuckle.
It's a great song. Score. So this is the first, I think, surprising inclusion in here. We have The Five Bloods, Mank, Minari, News of the World, and Soul. So my pick would be Soul. It's my favorite. Soul or Minari, actually. Two of my favorite scores of last year. I think it's going to be Soul or Mank, though. That's my prediction.
Really? It's got to be Soul all the way. Soul. I was just listening to
Soul's going to win because it's won everywhere, but I wouldn't be surprised if Mank got in there because they do love a good period. I mean, it's either way, it's Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. So
yeah,
either way, they're going to win.
Oh, they did Mank as well? I didn't realize they did Mank.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Their score for Soul is just unreal.
Soul is a phenomenal score. Honestly, one of my favorites in quite a bit.
Me too. Bri?
My pick is Soul. Soul has a very good score. My original pick to win the whole thing before the nominees came out didn't even get nominated. That would have been Tenet. I think Tenet has one of the best scores I've ever heard. But I'll give it to Soul. Soul has a very good score. So does Five Bloods, but I'm going to give it to Soul.
That's what I'm saying. So the Five Bloods is the first, I think, surprising one that I saw because that didn't get in anywhere. And personally, that's not a score that I even remembered.
No, not even.
Five Bloods came out so long ago that I haven't even rewatched it since.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot that was the 2020 movie, to be honest with you.
Same.
Yeah, me too. Felt like a while ago.
All right, visual effects, and a few surprising ones in here.
This category is really intriguing.
Yes, isn't it? Right?
Really
Love and Monsters, The Midnight Sky, Mulan, The One and Only Ivan, and Tenet. So my pick would be I haven't seen the movie. I haven't seen either of these, but I think it would be really cool if The One and Only Ivan or Love and Monsters got it.
I've seen both of those films, and The One and Only Ivan has incredible visual effects.
My mom was watching it a couple of weeks back, and I stepped in for a little bit, and it had really good visual effects. So I would be happy with either one of those, but I would not be surprised if they gave it to Mulan or Tenet.
Mm-hmm.
But the uproar is going to happen if somehow Mulan wins an award. You know it's going to happen.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. The controversy surrounding that film is very justified, in my opinion.
Yep. Yeah, I get that. Love and Monsters absolutely deserves it. That movie is the most underrated film of 2020. That movie is awesome. Awesome movie. It deserves it.
I am picking Tenet for this one, but I agree that it would be cool to see a movie like Love and Monsters take it, or even The One and Only Ivan.
Because both of those weren't even those were kind of surprising picks, especially Love and Monsters, all things considered. That was a late release.
That movie kind of I've said this before. If the pandemic didn't happen, Love and Monsters would have been a much, much bigger movie. But trailer came out, VOD, and then Blu-ray.
Got lost, shuffled like a lot of other films. Yeah.
But I would like to see Tenet take this one because I think it has phenomenal visual effects.
I agree.
Gonna watch it.
I rewatched that the other day, and visually, that is just such a beautiful looking movie.
Stunning. It blew me away.
It probably will, because that movie technically Chris Nolan always wins awards like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure. Well, they didn't. Clearly, they didn't like it this year. It got 0. Like it got pretty much goose.
We got
egged
2
everywhere else.
nominations.
Yeah.
We've already gone through the 2. Well, no, have we gone through the 2?
No.
We have one more.
Sound, Greyhound, Mank, News of the World, Soul, and Sound of Metal. So my pick and prediction is Sound of Metal.
That's my pick and prediction as well. I would like to see Greyhound take it. That'd be interesting.
That's such a random.
Greyhound, I actually think will take it.
That Greyhound. Wait, what'd you say, Jared?
I think Greyhound will take it.
Greyhound. Remember when Greyhound, for a very little bit, had Oscar buzz before
it had so much. People thought that was going to get nominated for Best Picture.
The movie is a big old ball of nothing. I watched it recently. It's a big old ball of. Yeah, it's nothing. Nothing happens.
I remember when the first trailer dropped and the CGI was kind of bad, so people were like, "Oh, hey, yeah, this movie might."
Yeah, the CGI is not great. The sound design's great. So, it's a war movie. So don't be surprised if that takes it. I want Soul to win. Soul should win every category it's nominated in this whole show. Just to throw that out there.
Makeup and hairstyling: Emma, Hillbilly LG, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, and Pinocchio. So my pick would be something like Pinocchio would be kind of cool because some of the stills from that, it looks very impressive.
Awesome.
I would love for Ma Rainey to get it too. And I think, if I'm being honest, I think my prediction would be Ma Rainey because that has some really well done makeup.
I think the 2. So I would like to see Ma Rainey's Black Bottom take it, but the Oscars love their period pieces.
They do.
Yep.
So it would not be too far fetched for Emma or Mank to take it because they love their suits.
Emma. So I watched that.
I mean, this isn't makeup and hair. I mean, that's not makeup and hairstyling, but you know what I mean.
Emma is a beautiful looking movie and it has some really good makeup and hairstyling. So I wouldn't be surprised. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it.
What if they gave it to Hillbilly Elegy?
I don't even get me started on that movie.
First actress to ever get. We'll get into that later, but first actress to ever get best. Was it best supporting or best leading?
Supporting
actress.
Best
supporting actress at the Oscars and worst actress at the Razzies.
And you know what? It's kind of deserving. But we'll get into that. I'll talk about. I have an opinion on it.
Okay.
Editing, The Father, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. So my prediction is Trial of the Chicago 7 because they love that quick Sorkin editing. But I would love something like Nomadland or Promising Young Woman to win it. I think both those are very deserving of editing.
So I think the two or three big ones that I think could definitely take it are The Father, Nomadland, and Sound of Metal. I think Nomadland's going to take it, and my pick here is going to play into the rest of the Oscars. You'll see why.
Nomadland, 100%.
That is some really good editing.
Fantastic. That movie is an editing, people who want to study editing, they
watch
should
that.
Look at
watch
Nomadland.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, another great category here: cinematography. Judas and the Black Messiah, Sean Bobbitt, Eric Meiser-Schmidt for Mank, Darius Wolski for News of the World, Joshua James Richards, Nomadland, Feden Papa Michelle for Trial of Chicago 7. So my pick and prediction is Nomadland. Nomadland is the most gorgeous film of last year.
Yes.
And I stand by that.
Beautiful film. Beautiful
film. I think the only one in this category that could give it a run for his money is maybe Judas. Judas has some great cinematography.
That has some phenomenal cinematography.
Some very, very good cinematography. But I think
compare that to Irishman. Visually.
Yeah. It kind of looks like Irishman.
I think it looks better than Irishman, but it has very visually it has a very same style to it.
Yeah, some similarities here and there, but Nomadland's going to take this one.
Oh, for sure. It's winning everywhere, so.
Yeah.
Gorgeous film. Deserves that award.
Costume. We can combine this costume design and production design. So costume design: Emma, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Mulan, and Pinocchio. Production design: The Father, Mank, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, News of the World, and Tenet. So costume design, I think Mank is going to win, and I think it should win. Production design, I think any of the top 4 could take it, but I would love Tenet to take it because that's just such a random, in my opinion, that's such a random nomination. I mean, the production design is cool, but like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how that got in, but kind of cool.
Costume design, Mank's gonna take it. I think it's Mank or Emma. It's one or the other. Or Ma Rainey. No, I think I'm gonna go with Mank for this one. And then production, I think it's gonna go to News of the World because that's a Western, right?
It's a Western, yeah.
The Western, so, and they for production designs they do like their Westerns. So I think News of the World would be my pick, but I would love to see Tenet win it. Just
it's so
just
funny.
To see it go 2 for 2 at the Oscars. Yeah, it's not going to, but to see it, like the potential for it to go 2 for 2 would be great.
Wait, is it 2? It's only 2 Oscars, right?
Production and
That's
sound.
right. It missed out on sound like it should have. Right. Jared, what's your pick?
I got nothing.
Nothing?
I'm just gonna throw one out of left field because you know how I like to do that. Costume design, I'm gonna go with Pinocchio, and production design. Oh, did I just say that? Or did I just say costume design? What did I just say?
I don't even know.
I don't remember, but we know what you meant.
All right, costume design is Pinocchio, and production design, I'll go Tenet. Why not? Chris Nolan films have really good production design. I haven't seen Tenet, so.
Animated feature. Onward.
This is a great category.
Over the Moon, Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, Soul, and Wolfwalkers. So I've seen 3 of the 5 here. And my pick and prediction is Soul, easily. I don't see Soul losing to any of these. As much as I've heard great things about Wolfwalkers, I just don't think it has any chance. Soul is just a steam train. So
my pick and prediction is Soul, but I'm basing this on the last 2 years of the Oscars. Combined Oscars and the Globes. Here's why. So the Globes for 2 years ago, Spider-Verse won that. Then Spider-Verse had a huge amount of momentum going in, and then it took it. Last year, what won it? The Missing Link won it at the Globes, and then it had a huge amount of momentum going in. Even though Soul won it at the Globes, it's not too far-fetched to say Wolfwalkers could win it, I think, because over recent years, they've shown that they recognize more animated films that are outside of Disney. I still think true. Soul's going to win it, but just based on that, I think Wolfwalker still has like a 70 to 30 chance, like a 30% chance to take it.
I don't think you can count out Shaun the Sheep.
I was literally just going to say that. Because if the Box Trolls can win...
Can you imagine if Shaun the Sheep...
Box Trolls won.
If the Box Trolls can win Best Animated Feature, Shaun the Sheep Farmageddon can win Best. And honestly, the first Shaun the Sheep movie is a masterpiece in animation.
It's some of my favorite animation.
Phenomenal.
I love that funny. Animation style. Claymation.
And there's not an ounce of dialogue in Shaun the Sheep. It's amazing. But my pick is either Soul or Onward. I think Pixar just killed it last year with both those movies. So Soul, it's got to be Soul.
And a nice shout out to Over the Moon, which was actually pretty good. I watched it. It's pretty fun.
I do want to watch that. I like that. I like they made Abominable, right? That same studio.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Abominable is
underrated.
Yep.
All right. So adapted and original screenplay here. So adapted is Borat's subsequent movie film, The Father, Nomadland, One Night in Miami, and honestly, super surprising, The White Tiger. So I've seen all 5 of these, and my pick is Nomadland, and my prediction is Nomadland.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Me as well.
So I asked Brian this question earlier in the day off show. Is the reason why Borat's in there is because Borat is already a pre-existing name, and so that's why it's adapted screenplay?
Yes.
Okay, because I was like, that seems strange. I don't remember that being based on anything, but okay,
also,
that makes sense.
This is the craziest fact. So Borat and Borat's sequel are the second film to ever get nominated for multiple Oscars. Can you name the other two?
Wait, what? Say that question again.
Sequels.
Oh, you're saying the both movies get nominated for this? Oh, okay.
Multiple nominations. You're gonna be shocked.
What's the other two films?
Yes.
How
Godfather?
recent was it?
Yes.
Oh, was Godfather? Okay.
Yes. So Borat and The Godfather film the same title. Two completely opposite movies.
That's cool. I'm glad I got that.
Nice little fun fact for you. All right. Original. Judas and the Black Messiah. Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, The Trial of Chicago 7. My pick is any of the first four.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, yeah. My pick is for any of the first four. I would be happy with any of those.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it will be Promising Young Woman or Minari.
My pick and prediction for this is Judas and the Black Messiah.
I would love that to happen.
I would love it. And the script for that was phenomenal.
So
it was so good. So that's my pick and prediction for that.
I'm gonna say Trial of the Chicago 7 because they love movies like that.
Yeah.
True.
Honestly, you know what? I'm gonna change
and they love Aaron Sorkin.
I'm gonna change my prediction to Minari or Trial of Chicago 7 because it is Sorkin and they love Sorkin. So
yeah.
Speaking of Sorkin, I just rewatched Moneyball recently. What a phenomenal film!
Great movie.
Phenomenal film.
Supporting actress.
Here we go.
Bakalova, Glenn Close, Olivia Colman, Amanda Seyfried. Oh Jesus. Yoo Jung-yoon from Minari.
Good. I think you nailed that pronunciation. Good job. I think you nailed it.
Damn.
Young Jung-yoon. Yeah.
So I think it's going to be any of these. Any of these guys could win. I don't think there's a front runner. I would like Bakalova or Amanda Seyfried or even Young. Actually, you know what? I would like any of these except Glenn Close.
All right, so explain Glenn Close.
Yeah, so what's the hate for Hillbilly LG going on here?
Hillbilly LG is a terrible movie. How that has any Oscar buzz is remarkable. It's such a bad movie. Legitimately horrendous.
But doesn't that movie have really good fan reaction though? Besides, I feel like
it's
the
a crowd
don't
pleaser,
like it.
so it's a crowd pleaser, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. There's one scene where I completely understand why Glenn Close is getting nominated. There's a scene in the car between her and the main character. Really well done. Rest of the movie, horrendous. So, yep, that's why I don't like that performance. I don't like that movie. So.
Because I know that's one of those films. Because you get a couple of those a year where you get critics who hate it, but then you get people who watch it who actually love it and say no, that's not true. Yeah. So, it's on
Netflix if you want to check it out, but I'll be telling you, you'd be wasting your time. That's just my opinion. But yeah, any of these guys could win it, and I feel like I don't have a clear-cut pick.
I don't have a clear-cut pick either. I think I'd be happy with either Maria Bakalova taking it or Olivia Colman, because Olivia Colman's great and everything. So
I agree with Brian. I'm going to go with Olivia Colman.
Her speeches.
Yeah, she had an awesome speech. Mm-hmm. Her role in The Favorite was.
Oh, The Favorite.
I watched that the other day and I loved it. So good.
I'm not a huge fan of the movie itself. I think the performances are excellent. Good. Yeah, she was great.
All right, supporting actor, Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of Chicago 7, Daniel Kaluuya, Leslie Odom Jr., Paul Raci, and Lakeith Stanfield, which is the most odd pick.
It is.
Out of
why did he get
the most surprising.
Supporting?
is the most surprising one because the entire season of awards, he's been campaigned as lead. The entire season. You go on Warner Brothers website, he is under lead. It is insane. I don't think anyone can figure out.
If you watch it, he's the lead.
Yeah, who is the lead? Who's the lead of the movie?
Yeah, who's the lead? I wonder what they're thinking.
You know, I would just love Lakeith to win because I would love to see his reaction to it because I don't think he understands why he's even nominated in the first place.
He'd come on stage and be like, well, I know I wasn't good enough for best actor, so in the lead, but
sure,
I guess supporting I'm good enough.
But my pick and prediction is Daniel Kaluuya, but I would love Paul Raci to get it. He is so good in Sound of Metal. I would highly suggest that movie just for that performance alone. So good.
My pick is either... No, my pick and prediction is Daniel Kaluuya. Yeah, I was going to say either him or Lakeith, but I think
Lakeith hasn't been coming up anywhere, though. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
I personally I haven't seen any of these movies, but I'm only just going to pick the one out of left field that I really want, and that's Leslie Odom Jr., because I'm a Hamilton guy, and he's awesome in Hamilton, so I'm assuming he's great as Sam Cooke in One Night in Miami.
Actually the best part of that movie.
That's great, because he's so talented.
Kingsley Ben-Adir is really good in that.
I think they only nominated him to take all the heat off that other movie he's in, Music, that was created by Sia.
Yes.
Just
you know what? I won't disagree with that. But he's really good in it. He's really good in it. I wouldn't be surprised if he won, to be honest. It's a very dark horse pick. So
cool.
We got a few more here. Best Actress. Viola Davis in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Andra Day, The United States versus Billie Holiday. Vanessa Kirby, Pieces of a Woman. Frances McDormand, Nomadland, and Carey Mulligan, Promising Young Woman. So I've seen 4 out of the 5 of these, and my pick and prediction is Carey Mulligan. I wouldn't be surprised if Vanessa Kirby took it or Viola Davis, but my pick and prediction is Carey Mulligan.
See,
I disagree completely, and I think Brian and I are on the same page here.
My pick, I would love to see Carey Mulligan take it, but my official prediction is Frances McDormand.
I agree. Yeah,
it's her best performance ever.
So
you think it's better than her 3 Billboards performance?
It's up there.
God,
she's so real in this one, though. Like, I mean, she's real in that one, but like this is like legitimately documentary level, like real.
Right,
yeah.
I get what you mean. Yeah, I get that.
So I would love Frances to win. But the only reason why I don't think she's going to get it is because she hasn't been winning anywhere. The film itself is winning everything. Her, not so much. But
they love her, though.
They love her, yes.
They do.
She's already won Oscars, so do they really need to give her another one? That's what I'm saying. True. Mulligan has never won an Oscar.
That's true. But if you're that talented, why not?
Yeah.
They don't really care about talent, though. They care about,
The last time she was nominated, she won.
She was nominated amongst other performances, but she was winning everywhere.
That's fair.
With this, Andra Day's winning a lot of different places. Viola Davis is winning a lot of other places. Vanessa Kirby is. Carey Mulligan is. She's the only one that really hasn't. I'm not saying it's not justified that she's nominated. She just doesn't have enough wins compared to the rest of them.
So are we going to talk about snubs at all? Or are we going to get to that at the end?
Yeah, we can get that at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I have a snub for this category, and I'll mention it later.
Okay.
Best Actor: Riz Ahmed, Sound of Metal. Chadwick Boseman, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Anthony Hopkins, The Father. Gary Oldman in Mank. Stephen Yeun, Minari. So my pick and prediction is Chadwick Boseman, but I would love if Steve Yeun won. But it's Chadwick.
So I think it really comes down to that first 3, in my opinion. Because Riz is winning places. Chadwick is winning. Hopkins is winning. So it's going to come down to either of those 3. I think my pick would be Riz Ahmed, but my prediction is Chadwick. I think they're going to give it to him.
I think I completely agree. Where it's those first three are winning everywhere, and I don't know if the Oscars will be bold enough to be like, hey, you know what? Chadwick's won everywhere else, major places. So let's just give it to like Riz Ahmed or something like that.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. The Oscars would be put under fire by everyone if they picked anyone but.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So
No,
go ahead.
Okay. I want Steven Yeun. Connor and I don't know if Brian is, but Connor and I are OG Walking Dead fans, and he's incredible as Glenn in that show. So he's a great actor.
I've never seen Walking Dead.
So happy for him. He's honestly the best part of that show at times. So
yeah, but it's Boseman.
It's Boseman.
100%. I haven't seen Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It looks great. Chadwick's an amazing actor, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
All right. Last two. Best Director, which has one of the strangest picks. Best Director, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, Emerald Fennell, Promising Young Woman, David Fincher for Mank, Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, and Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round. They pulled a Cold War.
They did.
Thomas Vinterberg.
My pick of prediction is Chloe Zhao. She's taking it. I don't think there's anyone else that's going to take it from her.
Yep.
Agreed.
I don't think anyone else has a chance. She's won. She has won in every. I think there was a stat where she had won more times than any other director ever.
Wow.
She had the best percentage of win to nomination ever.
Good for her, honestly. Goddamn.
In Nomadland itself has like the most wins ever. Like this thing is sweeping everywhere.
That's great because every year there's that one movie with award season where it's getting nominated everywhere. It's winning a bunch of awards, but sometimes that doesn't mean it's like a great movie. Like sometimes they view it as a great movie, but then us, the viewers, will look at it and be like, "Oh, it's really not that great. Like it's okay." But like with Nomadland, it's the one time where I'm like,
it's like unanimous. Yeah. Everyone.
I'm gonna get into when we get to Best Picture. I'm gonna make a very bold statement. But
you're gonna say Sound of Metal.
No, I know what it is.
But my pick and prediction is Chloe Zhao, and this is the first time ever for two things. An person of Asian descent was nominated for Best Director. Two different people. The first time two women have ever been nominated in the same year for director ever. Mm-hmm. So it's a pretty diverse field of people this year. I'm happy for that. I would have loved to see Regina King get in there, but
we'll talk about snubs because I got a few.
Yeah,
we'll talk about them.
I would have also liked to see Shaka King get a nominee.
That would have been awesome.
I thought he did a good job with that.
Is that Judas and the Black Messiah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And last but not least, Best Picture: The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, The Trial of the Chicago 7. Okay. All right. So this can be very bold, but I would not be surprised. This is going to be I want to see how the rest of the month plays out leading up to the Oscars. My pick and prediction right now is Nomadland. But I would not be surprised on the day of the Oscars they pick The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yep.
Really? That's not what I thought you were going to say.
I think it could easily happen. It is a very Green Book pick in that it's a crowd-pleasing movie.
And it's political.
And you know what? It's a good movie. It's not the best picture of the year, but it's a crowd pleaser and it's timely and it has a lot of things that carry over into the real world. And I mean, Nomadland, you can compare Roma and Nomadland pretty easily because Roma isn't a very accessible movie. Nomadland really isn't an accessible movie to average audiences. It's a very slow-moving, calm.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. Listen,
No.
I showed it to my mom and dad. They liked it, but they didn't love it. Like they thought it was kind of slow. So I mean, I would not be surprised. And hear me out. I could easily see Trial taking it. I could easily.
I think you bring up a good point there with that.
So my unanimous pick for pick game prediction is Nomadland. I think it's gonna. I mentioned it earlier when I picked Nomad for editing. What my prediction was going to be. I think Nomad's going to win all 6 of its nominees, including
Really?
Francis Ford. Yeah, I think it's going to win all 6. It's going to sweep, I think.
Damn. That's a
Um,
pretty bold prediction.
but if another one were to win this, I would love to see Judas take it. I would also like to see Promising Young Woman take it. Promising Young Woman was fantastic. But Nomadland is one of the best movies I've seen in maybe the last 3 years.
I mean,
Agreed.
who did you think I was talking about?
I thought you were gonna say Minari.
Oh, well, you know what? I would love Minari. I would love Minari or something like Judas to happen, or something like Promising Young. I would love so many different movies, but if you boil it down, it's between 2, in my eyes.
And this is another year. This is the same thing with last year. I'm not gonna be upset if something either than Nomad or Judas wins it. If anything wins,
I will
think
be upset if Trial wins.
You will
Not
be upset.
that I don't hate the movie. I just
Do you think that's just a safe choice?
I think it's the safe choice. I think it is an extremely safe choice, and I think it's going to piss a lot of people off, like it did with Green Book. I don't hate Green Book. I think Green Book is a great movie. It's not that I didn't like it any less. I just don't think it was the best picture of that year. I think it was far from it. I honestly don't even think Trial deserves the best picture nom. I think you can easily throw in One Night in Miami or Ma Rainey, but what are you going to do?
It's definitely going to be Nomadland. I agree with Brian.
Sure,
it's got to be one of the best movies I've seen in a long, long time.
If I'm being I don't want anyone to feel like I'm taking anything away from Nomadland. And
no.
How much?
But they do. The Oscars do or the Academy do like to go with dark horse picks for best picture.
Yep.
For whatever
it's not even
reason.
necessarily a dark horse pick. Like Jared said, it's the safe pick. It's a very safe.
It's a safe pick. Yeah. Politically, they like to do that.
But yeah, so that's our predictions. We're gonna get into some snubs here.
I got a few.
I'm gonna write. You guys can take your time with this. I gotta write down some. Because
I got them all ready to shoot. Whenever everybody's ready for that.
Where do we want to? Do we want to start at foreign?
I mean,
or do we want to just do the main
places? I mean, we could start where people, where I think everybody can just kind of give their snubs. So we don't have to start in a particular place.
Jared, if you want to fill the dead air because we're doing a good job with it, I got to write down.
Absolutely, I will fill the dead air. I will actually I'll do my snubs while I'm trying to fill some air. Best Picture. You can easily take out Trial of Chicago 7 and put in Soul. I think Soul is Pixar's best movie maybe ever. Maybe. I love Toy Story 3, and I think Toy Story 3 is their magnum opus. But I really loved Soul, and I think Soul is just a beautifully well-done film, and I think it could be in the Best Picture category. Best Director, you can take out Thomas Finterberg and put in Lee Wynell for The Invisible Man. That movie is incredibly well-directed, and I think that nomination is justified. And then going down to Best Actor, Gary Oldman's been nominated a boatload of times, so take him out. And just because, put in Ben Affleck for The Way Back, because his performance in that film was phenomenal.
I think Brian's going to agree with you there.
And then actress, take out Andrea Day and put in Elizabeth Moss from The Invisible Man.
Yes.
Her performance in that was just unreal. Unreal. And then Best Original Screenplay, Trial of Chicago 7. And I would, just because I like to have some fun, put in The King of Staten Island. That movie has a wonderful screenplay. So I think that could be justified in there. And like the best sound stuff, I'm gonna say The Invisible Man again. I think that film has incredibly
some really good sound.
I think that film is just a tension building, suspenseful masterpiece, and I think that it deserves a lot more love, and it hasn't gotten any, which is typical because horror films like that, much like Us or Hereditary with Lupita Nyong'o and Toni Collette's performances in there, they didn't get any love, and they should have. And I think Elizabeth Moss could have easily gotten in there.
You think original for Soul?
Original screenplay?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good choice too. Yeah, that dude, Pixar's. It's right up there with Toy Story 3. I mean, it really is just a masterful film. And I loved Onward. I think Pixar killed it last year, and I think they're going to do it again this year. They're just on a roll right now. So that's that. And also, best original song, It's All Right, from Soul, should be in there too. Just saying. That's my dead air fill. Do I have to continue to fill dead air? I can continue to fill dead air. Hello, people. I hope you guys are all enjoying the podcast so far. It's been fun coming back on the show and hanging out with these two buffoons, talking movies again. It's been tons of fun. The one thing I will say is that at the end of the day, the Oscars don't really mean a whole lot. So don't take anything, whatever happens at the Oscar day, overly serious. It's okay if your favorite people don't win, except if you're Won't You Be My Neighbor from a couple years ago, because that's the only time I've ever been upset over a snub. So truly upset. The greatest documentary ever made doesn't get nominated for anything. Just saying.
All right.
Also, the most underrated film of last year is The Call of the Wild with Harrison Ford. Just saying.
I think I'm good.
Give me. You can go. I got one more name. I gotta find it. Hold on.
All right. So I have a really obscure one, but so my first, I have a lot of snubs. So live action short, The Human Voice, directed by Pedro Almodovar. I saw at New York Film Festival. The fact that was not even in the consideration, and they love Pedro. Kind of ridiculous. Visual effects, Welcome to Chechnya does a fantastic job with face. I'm blanking on the word, but face replacements to cover up the people that are in trouble due to them being homosexuals in Russia. So it protects them from their real identity, and that's really cool. Documentary, Boys State. Picture, Soul, and I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Director, Shaka King and Darius Martyr. Actress, Jessie Buckley from Thinking of Ending Things. Cinematography, First Cow and I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Score, Tenet. Original song, Travis Scott, The Plan. Original screenplay, Soul. Adapted screenplay, First Cow and I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Supporting actress, Dominique Fishback for Judas. Talia Ryder for Never, Really, Sometimes, Always. Actor, Delroy Lindo and Mads Mikkelsen.
I got to see that Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. I remember that film was coming out. And
honestly,
it got some really good buzz.
So good. Fantastic performances. Sidney Flanigan and Talia Ryder do a great job. It is a beautiful looking film. It's very desaturized in a way where it's not black and white, but it looks plain, but it looks very pretty.
Sure.
Also, First Cow and I'm Thinking of Ending Things. The fact that they didn't get a thing really pisses me off. Really, some of my favorite of last year. So, especially First Cow, so good.
Okay, so I have my list here. I finally finished it. I was just looking through casts and stuff, and I threw in some like the ones that I really thought should have been nominated, and like I threw some fun ones because why the hell not? They could have legitimately been nominated if it was like a weaker year. So for the big one, it's Tenet for score. I think it should have been nominated. I don't think if they had one extra slot, Tenet should go in there 110%. The Plan for original song by Travis Scott for Tenet. Ben Affleck, Best Actor. He was my pick all year. The fact that he didn't get nominated.
Agreed.
I understand why he didn't get nominated because he lost a lot of momentum, but still, I don't think that should take away anything from his performance. I think it's like a top 5 Ben Affleck performance ever. We have Elizabeth Moss for Best Actress. It's also probably her best performance ever. Delroy Lindo for Da 5 Bloods for Best Leading Actor. The Way Back for Best Picture. I think all around that was like top 3 for me. That was my 3rd favorite movie of last year.
It's a great movie.
This is one I realized right before I finished that I think could have gotten a nominee if it was a weaker year. For Best Original Screenplay, I picked The Gentleman. Guy Ritchie's
That's
English
an interesting pick.
movie last
I
year.
totally forgot that came out.
That's an interesting pick. That's got a really good screenplay.
Right? It's got a good screenplay. It's good. It's not based on anything. It's completely Guy Ritchie.
That was yeah, wow. A lot of people really love that movie too.
Yeah, it doesn't have bad reviews at all. I actually have it in my Blu-ray stack over there. That's how I remembered it. I just looked over, I glanced at it, and I saw it.
It's a good movie.
Robert Pattinson for Best Supporting for Devil All the Time. I think he could have gotten a nominee.
Was that 2020 or was that 2019?
2020. Yeah, Brian, I thought you were going to say Tenet for shits and giggles.
No.
For a second there,
he was super interchangeable in that movie.
I thought that was 2019. That was 2020. Oh, I'm going to put that in there. Pattinson as well. Yeah. Pattinson or Holland.
Pattinson or Holland, yeah. This one I threw in just for fun because it's such a fun movie and it's such a ridiculous performance, but it's legitimately a pretty good performance. Joe Keery for Spree for Best Leading Actor.
You know what? I can get behind that because I talked to Brian about Spree a while back. I think I loved it more than he did. So
it's not, Jared, you would like it.
It's legitimately not a bad movie. It's actually pretty good.
Not bad at all. It's better than I thought.
I like Joe Keery. I like him a lot. So
yeah,
it's pretty, you know what? It caught me off guard of how much I enjoyed it. So,
and then we have I'm gonna butcher this name. Riley Keough for Best Supporting for Devil All the Time. Jared, do you remember? Do you remember who she was?
Was she the sister?
No, she was the one.
Was she the sister?
She was in a relationship with the.
She was taking pictures.
With Jason Clarke's character. Yeah. Oh yeah, she was great. Yes,
she was very good.
100%.
And then my final pick for Best Leading Actor is Jared Flaherty for Crying Is Okay Here. I mean, the fact that he's nominated is absolutely stupid. I actually am boycotting the Oscars this year. You can completely
I think we should have started our own campaign.
The fact that he didn't get nominated is ridiculous. Mr. Academy is gonna be getting a fax from me about
Mr. Academy
and myself. I think we should have started our own campaign and our own Oscars.
Jared Flaherty for Best Leading Actor and Brandon Mason for Best Supporting for his 30 seconds of screen time.
Best guest starring in a film goes to Brandon Mason.
Get me and Brandon in there for Best Supporting.
They should start having best cameo categories. I'm just saying.
Best cameo, Brian Dengler.
Hell yeah.
No,
I've got Best Supporting. Brandon has a cameo.
Brandon has a cameo.
Best cameo, Bullseye, the dog.
Bullseye.
just one little.
But those are my picks. I don't think I would have put in anything else. I think maybe like one of the extra people from Nomadland, because just how good everyone was in that movie.
The supporting actor in that.
Straight Tharn.
Yeah.
He's great in that movie.
For the longest time, he was favorited to win, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
He's great in that movie.
I think you could also do Devil All the Time for score. That had a really good score.
It did. And
cinematography.
That one little tune that played every now and then.
That made the score made my stomach turn. in that film.
And
So, yeah.
cinematography.
And cinematography.
That's a very
That
good
movie can we just agree that movie is completely underrated? Like,
very.
Yes.
That almost made it at one point. That was like number 5, my top 10. I really liked
the
it.
one performance out of that movie that really sticks out to me the most, though, is Bill Skarsgård. For some reason, his performance in that, I just is like implanted.
It's good.
It's just stuck
really
with me. Good. I don't know why. Come here, boy.
Honestly,
Gonna come down here and pray, boy.
You know what? I'm gonna go on a limb and say this is a really good Oscars year.
It is.
Legitimately,
I don't know if I mentioned this before. This is like the second year or third year in a row where I'm not upset with any of the Best Picture nominees, and like I would not like. I know your feelings about Trial, Connor, but I wouldn't be upset if literally any of these movies won.
Listen, I don't hate Trial. I know
you don't hate it, but I'm like, I know it's the safest pick.
Yeah,
it's the safest pick. But I don't think that necessarily makes it a bad pick. But
yeah, someone made
I
a really good
would not
point.
be upset if any of these won. I think all of them have valid reasons to win.
Oh, for sure, definitely. Someone made a really good point on Twitter. They were like, I love how spread out all the nominees are, and how you have multiple movies with like 5 or 6 nominees each. Like, it's
it's not. That's a good point.
And last year it was like you had Parasite and Joker and Irishman, and you had the same like 3-4 movies in every category. So it was like, okay, well, they're gonna load up on one movie every time. So
yeah, that's a good point. This year they are nicely spread out.
So yeah, those were our picks.
No Love to Invisible Man, though. I think that movie deserved more love.
It lost all of its momentum. For a second, that had a lot of momentum going for it.
It deserved it, though. I think
that movie's going to go down as a classic.
For sure. Elizabeth Moss is the queen of horror movies at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, and a shout out to her performance in Shirley.
I was just going to ask, has anybody seen that? Because I hear her performance in that.
Oscar-worthy performance, in my opinion. Or Oscar nomination.
She'll get it. Also, Vanessa Kirby got in there this year. Wasn't Vanessa Kirby in
back of
Hobbs and Shaw?
She was in Hobbs and Shaw, right? Okay.
She was in Hobbs and Shaw.
I was like, she looks familiar.
Legitimately a good actress.
Who is she missing?
She kisses Tom Cruise.
I guess in the last one?
Yeah.
It's been so long. I'm gonna go back and rewatch Fall.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Pieces of a Woman is a pretty good movie. I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to, but she's really good in it. And
Isn't Shia in that movie too?
Shia's really good in it. Yeah. All things aside, he's pretty good in it.
Shia's a really good actor.
Well, his career's over now, but you know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Conversation for another day.
He'll come back in 5 years and make another noteworthy performance like the Peanut Butter Falcon and put him back on the map.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Wouldn't be surprised either.
All right. So we're going to move on to our last section here real quick. What we've been watching. What you guys been watching? Or reading or listening or...
Do you want to go first, Jared?
I don't care. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay. All right. I recently just started this anime series on Netflix that's a sequel to the 2 Pacific Rim movies, Pacific Rim: The Black.
What's the first episode of it?
It's not bad. The first episode's really good. The second episode's kind of slow. Each episode's really short though. I've only seen maybe 1 or 2. Like I checked the length or the runtime of each one. I've only seen maybe 2 go over half an hour. So it's like it's not a long season. There's only 9 episodes. It's not bad. I'll have to see how the story goes moving forward. But I think it'll be good. If it had the pacing of the first episode, I think it'd be a lot better so far. But like it took a screeching halt in the second episode. This actually yesterday, on the time of recording, I watched Shutter Island for the first time.
Love that one. Underrated as all hell.
It's not at all what I thought it was going to be.
No, right? It's completely
not at all.
The movie comes out of left field, man.
It's the most different Scorsese movie I've ever seen.
Watch Silence. And then
I was just
talk
gonna
to me.
say, yeah, Silence.
Silence or like Hugo.
Hugo. Oh my
Hugo's
God.
great.
Hugo is so good. Don't
I
even get
know.
me started on Hugo. Oh,
Hugo's awesome.
But no, I really enjoyed it. Leo was phenomenal. And the fact that he didn't get nominated for that.
such an
is
underrated performance in an underrated
Such
movie.
an
Him
underrated
and
movie.
Mark Ruffalo in that
Mark
movie.
Ruffalo's great in it too.
And Ben Kingsley,
Um,
right? Ben Kingsley's in that movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Sure,
great.
yeah. The fact that movie got 0 nominations that the year it came out is ridiculous. That is single-handedly one of the best years for a single actor I've seen in a while. For Leo, when he was in that film and he was in Inception, is incredible. They were both
That was
2010.
the same year. Jeez.
Yeah, they were both 2010.
Wow, Inception came out in 2010.
So I guess they kind of were like, all right, which Leo movie do we go with? So I guess they decided on Inception, but both are phenomenal. I love Shutter Island. It had me hooked the whole time. There was like multiple different stories going on at the same time too, which
Yep.
is crazy. And it all culminates. I was really worried when it hit like the 58-minute mark and they basically quote unquote solve the main conflict, or what you think is the main conflict. And then I'm like, there's still like over an hour left. What are they gonna do? And then they throw like 3 different curveballs at you.
It's
and it all
genius
works.
writing.
Genius writing.
Absolutely genius.
And then you go back and you look at different frames and like the meaning behind them and stuff.
A second viewing of that movie is
incredible.
absolutely necessary.
I have to do it at some point.
Yeah.
I think it's a necessary Blu-ray buy for me now. I'm gonna get it eventually now.
Mm-hmm.
I watched that. There have been multiple different movies on my watch list recently. In different shows. Like I want to get to Top Gear eventually. The original Top Gear, not the US one with whatever his name is from Friends. I think it's Friends. One of the guys from Friends is the host of the US Top Gear.
Who?
I gotta look it up. Hold on.
Is it Swimmer? No, it's probably Matt Perry.
It's Matt Perry. That's it.
Matt Perry is the host of Top Gear in the U.S. That's so. What a strange host.
Pretty sure. Let me see. Let me just double check. Dead air.
Fill it. Dead air.
I can't find it. Where is it?
Air.
He was. I don't know. Can't find a definitive answer, but he was at one point a part of Top Gear USA.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
What else? I want to get back into Better Call Saul because the new season's coming out this year, and
Isn't that the last season?
Underrated.
What's that?
So underrated.
Hmm.
Does not get enough attention.
I've heard the season I'm getting into is when everything starts to get insane. That's season 3. Because season 1 was good but underwhelming. The second season was when stuff starts to pick up. And then 3 is when I heard stuff starts to really go down.
Bob Odenkirk is an awesome actor.
Yes.
He doesn't get enough. He's
got a new movie coming out.
Attention.
No.
Especially for that show.
Yeah, Nobody. Nobody looks awesome.
Nobody looks amazing.
I can't wait for that movie.
Have I been watching anything else? Not that I know of. Like I have movies, like other movies in my watch list. But really, other than that, really haven't watched too much.
Jared, what have you been watching?
Everything and anything. To make it short and simple, Brooklyn Nine-Nine has been my new obsession. Great show. Probably easily. So my favorite show of all time, for people who don't know, is The Office. Okay. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine is slowly creeping its way up there. It's consistently funny and never lets up. Great storylines throughout the show. Awesome. Tons of movies, but the most noteworthy ones that I've watched recently, rewatched Get Out, amazing. Rewatched Shape of Water, amazing. First time watched Freaky, not that good. Vince Vaughn's pretty good in it. Nothing of noteworthiness for that movie. We talked about Willy's Wonderland, which was a recent one. Nomadland, which was pretty recent for me too. Phenomenal movie, beautifully well done. There's got to be other films that I've watched, and I just can't think of them off the top of my head. Oh, Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Great film. Haven't seen that since it came out in theaters. Wonderful movie. Cabin in the Woods. Awesome.
So good. So good.
So good. And then last one I'm just thinking of just as a random one is The Judge. That movie doesn't get enough credit. I think that movie's way better than people.
Is it Robert Downey in that?
Yeah, Robert Downey, Robert Duvall. Really, really solid. Really, really solid. And I think that's it for me. I don't think I've seen really anything else.
All right. So I got a few. I watched Casablanca for the first time.
What a great movie. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. I will say it's one of the best romantic movies. It lives up. It lives up to its name.
So what's the famous line from Casablanca?
Hey, we're in Casablanca.
Hey, and then explodes.
To be honest, I watched it like 2 weeks ago. So
I thought it was Frankly My Dear, but that's not.
That's
No.
Dances with Wolves or
No,
Gone with the Wind.
That's Gone with the Wind, dude.
Dumbass.
I started watching the Before trilogy.
I've never seen that.
Ooh.
Before Sunrise, and I'm being honest, it's slowly creeping. And the more I thought about it, it's slowly creeping up in my favorite movies list. I think it's top 15 right now. Legitimately one of my favorite romance movies I've ever seen. I'm not a big romantic movie guy, but
Neither am I.
it hit me where it hurts. So I also got a free month of Criterion, so I'm watching some Basil Dearden heist movies. I watched League of Gentlemen, really good. And I'm 3 seasons into my Game of Thrones rewatch. So
Hey, I got to go back and do that myself.
I haven't watched all of it all the way through. Like I've kind of watched bits and pieces, but I have watched the last 2 seasons. So it's nice to know how disappointing everything is.
Yeah.
So, but the first 2 seasons of that show, and even season 3 and 4, are just so phenomenal. Honestly, some of the best television ever.
So I think you're going to understand why maybe it's going to go one of 2 ways for you. It's either going to go one, you're going to get the side of people hating the ending, or 2, you're going to be like, oh, maybe it's not that bad. Just think about it, because sometimes people jump the gun on things, and then over time.
8 and 9. I've seen 8 and 9 all the way through, and I hate 8 and 9. I do not like 8 and 9 at all. So I can already kind of tell that I'm going to be really disappointed watching it all. But I will say Peter Dinklage is great on that show. Richard Madden, phenomenal on that show.
Gwendolyn Christie, she is awesome.
She's great. She's so good. She got more screen time in one episode than the entire Star Wars saga. But I don't like Daenerys. I don't like her. I'm being honest. I don't like her character.
Daenerys. Emily or Emil Clark.
Emilia Clarke. Yeah, I don't like her. I liked her when I watched 8 and 9 all the way through, but I don't like her character. It's honestly it's such a shame where the show ends up. But that first couple seasons is just some of the best storytelling in television history. I live by that.
Great. Keeps you hooked, man.
All right. That's what we've been watching. This has been such a long episode, but I don't really care because we just kept it going,
I do have one thing to add to that watching list. I actually just thought about it because you were talking about the Before trilogy. I was like, oh my God, I just rewatched the Apes trilogy recently. Rise, Dawn, and War.
Oh, yeah.
Watched. And they're amazing. It's my favorite movie trilogy ever.
I have to rewatch War. We have to sit down. That's what we should do for the next pod. We should have Jarrod back on and watch War.
I'm down. Whenever you guys want me on the show, I'm available.
A full reaction episode. I gotta rewatch Dawn, War, and then I also gotta watch Rise for the first time.
Maybe we'll do an entire podcast on the trilogy.
I would love that.
Rise deserves to be talked about more.
That's what I'm saying. Why don't we just do an entire trilogy episode?
That's fine. Let me know. I'm down.
All right. But yeah, this has been the Cloud Saga Cinema podcast. It was a pretty loaded episode. So if you made it this far, thanks for listening. Jarrod, thank you for being on. It's glad. I'm happy to have you back. We'd be happy to have you on again. So
anytime, man. Anytime.
I've been Connor Van Sice.
I've been Brian Dangler.
And we'll see you in the next one. Boing.